Hi, how are you? Well, we are going to talk about globalization and free trade agreements. My easy, sorry. Well, in this part, my name is Catherine Rosario Suarez Franco. I have this um, easy. I'm explain. So I'm going to start. Well, the globalization has already become a social and cultural movement. Is in a reality mainly economic process defined by the integration of the different national economies. In fact, the International Monetary Fund speaks that concept has a economy um, an increase in economic interdependency of the set of countries in the world caused by the increase in the volume and variety of cross-border transactions of goods and service as well as flows international capital while the accelerate diffusion of with the spur technology. Well, from a strictly economic point of view, globalization is one of the main mainstays of the growth of capitalism as the dominant financial system. So the business internationalization we could hardly have witnesses the economic growth of recent decades. However, not everything is flattery. Far from it, for this process, starting with the strong opposition of the so-called anti-globalization groups. Well, one of the criticisms is whether globalization is really serving to make the entire planet richer and better, while the internalization process as a local country um, with the like in China or India to grow rapidly in recent years thanks to their ability to adapt to a global economic where cost reduction is paramount. Paramount, sorry. In addition, there are also those who argue that globalization is ending the cultural diversity of the planet. So, in this part, I have the example. Well, mm, the globalization and the free trade. Um, there are different actors like stakeholders when they give and take in several countries and that they bring views um, to table and negotiations should follow their course. However, it's important to connect in mind that for trade to still deliver its economic benefit, it's most underpinned by strong rules and disciplines, support a combination of markets. Globalization needs the rules to be ready to deliver on these economic benefits. So the cooperation is very important. And the economy integration. The quote, free trade is not based on utility but on justice by Edmund Burke. So, in parallel to international cooperation in domestic policies within the areas of the education, health, safety, higher business environments, and improving infrastructure are vital to create globalization work of all. Okay, the example that I have is a Canada with Colombian free trade agreement. Um, well, in this part, the Canada-Colombian Free Trade Agreement has been in force since August 2011. It is Colombian second the free trade agreement with a developed country. So the negotiated items in the agreement are comparable to commercial terms for found in Canada's on other bilateral agreements with Chile, Costa Rica, and Peru. Well, in this part, developing search market of the benefits that I have the free trade agreement, developing a secure market for goods and service, creating a new employment opportunities and improve working conditions, reducing trade distortions, ensuring a predictable commercial framework for business planning and investment, in changing competitiveness of firms in a global markets, strength regulations regarding environmental impact, and respect international recognized corporate social responsibility standards, and promoting economic development to reduce poverty. So, inequality could be a complicated phenomenon because it's the result of multiple and various economic forces. So, to live to compare across countries, it is necessary for completely different dimensions. First, we have got attend to the size international inequality. Second, in is a inequality across persons and intervals in a private country where inequality greatly exceeds and within some body country. Um, well, um, in the other part, bi- the bilateral agreement has centrally boosted the ease of doing business with these countries. According to the World Bank, Colombia ranks second in South America and as of doing business and investor projection. Likewise, Export Development Canada categorizes Colombia as an opening economy and exposed to closed, limited, or open on a highly restricted base. In part of capitalism has been sorry in productive in nurturing technological innovation, in promoting initiative, um, and making wealth and increasing poverty. So the several economists are agreement that they have normally capitalist economy will be a strong engine for development. So the part of conclusions, you know that the globalization is a common benefit. There are international organizations that make sure that is good for all the countries. So, for example, developed countries are favored through subsidies and aid, and an attempt is made to reduce the gap between developed and developing countries. Um, when many political barriers were removed and international trade and investment grew, greater confidence, private companies, developed countries, and the cost of the transport had decreased and grading communication faster and safer. The information passes from the country to another to second, and there are new commercial operations. In this part, the amount of globalization has brought emergence of the trade agreements between countries, commercialist blocks, and world organization free of trade by countries open up their markets free access from different countries because the risk and opportunities of global deregulation of trade are mentioned. Many issues, problems, consideration, and ways to handle and assess the consequence of the regulations within the overall conditions of the economies. The other quote: manufacturing and commercial monopolies owe their origin to a tendency imminent in a capitalist economy, but to governmental investments policy directed against free trade and laissez-faire by Ludwig von Mises. Well, finally, the important thing is about parties to the treaty are satisfied just as the two countries benefit equality. Well, not only two countries, all the countries have the benefit equality, and it is important for the world so that they can grow uh, and get allies so that each country progresses. Well, this is my easier. Thank you. That's all for today.